Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to our Shirin Svasamas Parshas Vayetzei Tafshin Peivav. One of the interesting stories that we find as Yaakov Avinu heads out of Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz to go find a wife, to leave and to run away from Esav, his brother, wants to kill him, Yaakov Avinu encounters a well and he sees three flock of sheep standing around this well in the middle of the day doing nothing. And Yaakov Avinu begins to get involved in a conversation and they explain to Yaakov Avinu that the reason why we're here in the middle of the day is because we need to drink. We need to give to our sheep water to drink from the well. And until all of the shepherds come and together collectively lift the rock off the well, we're not able to go ahead and drink, and therefore we're waiting here until all the shepherds come. Yaakov Avinu goes over to the rock, the heavy rock that needs multiple people to take it off, which is sitting on top of the water, and Yaakov Avinu, like Rashi says, pulls it off like a cork out of a bottle without any difficulty at all, allowing the shepherds to go ahead and drink. And then Yaakov Avinu meets Rachel Imenu, and Yaakov Avinu is brought back to the house of Lavan, and the story continues. And the shaila is exactly, what is this story doing? Why does Yaakov Avinu specifically see a be'er, a well? Why does Yaakov Avinu see only 3 flock of sheep standing around there? Why not 4? Why not 5? What does it mean that Yaakov Avinu goes ahead and pulls the rock off the well with ease? Yaakov Avinu is the Ish Tam Yoshev Ahalim. Yaakov Avinu is not the Ish Sada. He's not the one who's outside in the field. Yaakov Avinu is the Ish Tam Yoshev Ahalim. What exactly gave Yaakov, and how exactly did Yaakov have the strength that he had 3 shepherds standing there, they couldn't lift it off, and yet Yaakov Avinu, who's sitting and learning his whole life, has the capability to lift it off easily? Clearly, there's something deeper going on. Clearly, this is not just a story about sheep wanting to drink water from a well, but clearly there are hidden meanings and hidden layers in this story, as there are in every story. And this Vasemis has multiple ways to explain exactly what the be'er, what the well represents, what the flock of sheep represent. But in the year Taf Reish Mem Zayin, he says a beautiful thing. Zak Heilige Sfas Emes, V'ine be'er b'sadeh, Omar Moiri V'zikni, Zak Heilige Sfas Emes, in the name of his grandfather, the Chedush Sherim. Heged Maimar Rizal, he said on what we say in Kabbalah Shabbos, L'chadoidi Neitzei Asadeh, that the pasuk says in Shir Rishim, L'chadoidi, to go ahead and to greet Doidi, to greet my beloved, Neitzei Hasadeh, we're going to go out into the field. And some have the minig, they say, Bayu Neitzei, to go out into the Sadeh, Likras Kala, Likras Shabbos Malkasa, to go greet the Kala. And this is the Arizal said, this pasuk of L'chadoidi, Neitzei Hasadeh, is a reference to Shabbos. Why is the Sadeh? Why is going out into the field? Which is the way the Arizal himself physically used to go with his Talmidim out to the field to greet the Shabbos Malka. Why specifically does a pasuk in Shir Shirim use the idea of a Sadeh when it's referring to Shabbos? Says this Vasemes in the name of the Chedush Shirim, in the name of the Arizal, Ki b'mei Maisa Nikra Midbar She'enoi Royal Izriya. During the 6 days of the week, the world is called a midbar. It's a desolate place where it's not ready to go ahead and to plant anything. Obviously, to plant physical things, a person can only plant during the 6 days of the week and not on Shabbos. But when a person wants to plant those things that have a real kiyum, those things that are able to last, which is ruchnius, the 6 days of the week is not a ripe, days which are not ripe and not ready to go ahead and to plant ruchnius in a proper way. But Shabbos Kodesh, ukashabah or Shabbos, Nikras Sadeh, Shabbos is called a Sadeh, Haroya Lizriya, which is meant to go ahead and to plant. Zak Heilige Chedush Sherim, V'hine be'er b'sadeh. There was a well, b'sadeh means that well is a reference to the water of Shabbos. And the water of Shabbos is b'sadeh in the field, because Shabbos Kodesh is like a field, which has the irrigation and is ready to go ahead, and that a person is able to plant himself in a ruchniistic way in Shabbos and to see real results, both in his davening and his learning, and in every area of Avodas Hashem, a person's capable of seeing real results in the work that a person puts on Shabbos. Shabbos is a sada, Shabbos is a field, and the field allows that which is planted in it to be able to grow properly. And that's the way the Chedush Shirim, explained the idea of the Be'er B'Sadeh. Zaktis Vasemes. Now it's obvious what the Gimel Edrei Tzayin are, what the 3 flock of sheep are. The Arizal says that there are 3 days after every Shabbos that it takes to come down from a Shabbos, that a person still has some residual effect of Shabbos, a person still connected to the Neshama Yisera on Sunday, Monday, on Tuesday, Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, and Zak Heilige Arizal, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Yom Revi'i, Yom Chamishi, Yom Shishi, a preparation and getting one's neshama ready to be makabel the neshama yisera of the next Shabbos. And therefore, says this Vasemes, this Gimel Edrei Tzayin, there are 3 flocks of sheep represent the 3 days of the week. The 3 days of the week represent before Shabbos, the 3 days of the week that represent after Shabbos. Menikre Edrei, those are the days that are there that are connected to Shabbos. But they're called Edrei Tzayin, which literally means flocks of sheep, Sheneder has galas HaKedusha. Says this Vasemis, those are days in which the Kedusha is neder, it's hidden. The days of the week, of course, have Kedusha inside of it. The days of the week, of course, have an aspect of Ruchnias, an aspect of a Sada inside of it, but on a surface level, it's Gimel Edreit Zayin. On a surface level, it's not the Be'er. The Be'er is still covered over. There's still a rock on top of the well of Shabbos Kodesh, and during the 6 days of the week, it's Edreit Zayin. The connection that one has to Kedusha, to Ruchnias, to Shabbos Kodesh, is hidden over with the rock, hidden over with the Even, which as Vasemis explains in other places, the Even, as the Gemara Sukkah tells us, is a reference to the Yetzer Hara, Even Huni Moyach, and therefore Shabbos Kodesh is covered over by an Even. Shabbos Kodesh is covered over by a rock, and the Gimel Edreit Zayin, the 3 days, are surrounding Shabbos, trying to attach themselves to Shabbos, but they're Edreit Zayin, they're not connected. But Im Kol Zeh, says this Vasemis, even though the Kedusha over by those days are hidden, nevertheless, tzarech liyas reivsim v'seimchem ala Shabbos. Like these Gimel Edreit Zayin, the Pasuk says they were sitting there, waiting to drink from the water. They were surrounding the well. They weren't just sitting anywhere in the field, waiting for all the shepherds to come. They sat around the well, waiting for the shepherds to be able to go ahead and lift the rock off the well so that they could drink the sweet waters of Shabbos Kodesh. And Mamela says this Vasemis, kavishim avatlon kol hayomim ala Shabbos, the more one goes ahead and attaches Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to Shabbos Kodesh, the more one's able to go ahead and live with the previous Shabbos on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and prepare for the following Shabbos on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the more one's able to ensure that the flocks of sheep, although they don't have the revelation of Shabbos Kodesh the same way you have it on Shabbos, and they're in the place of the Midbar, but they're going ahead and they're sitting in close proximity to the well, they want to attach themselves to Shabbos, the more one is then capable, when the rock comes off, to be able to drink from the water of Shabbos in the proper way. All the days of the week are shayiv. All the days of the week get the bracha from the well, from Shabbos Kodesh, as the Zohar Kodesh says, Kiminei Kol Yomim Mizbarchen, Shabbos Kodesh is the Makara bracha. It's the Makara Shefa, and therefore every day of the week needs to be connected, and one needs to go ahead and to recognize and to uncover the Kedusha of Shabbos that lies dormant inside of every day. And therefore, Rak Bechol Ein Nigla, during the 6 days of the week, it's not revealed because there's an Even HaGedolah, there's a large rock on top of the well. But our job, says this Vasemis, is to ensure that we're sitting in close proximity to the well, that we're not going ahead and just saying, okay, Shabbos will come when Shabbos comes. No, every day of the week. Hayom Yom Rishon b'Shabbos. Hayom Yom Sheni b'Shabbos. Every day of the week we're involved in the preparation, whether physically or spiritually, by preparing for Shabbos, by recognizing that our whole week needs to revolve around Shabbos. Everything in life needs to revolve around Shabbos Kodesh. We're either just coming off of a Shabbos or preparing for Shabbos. But Shabbos Kodesh is not a one day a week one occurrence. Shabbos Kodesh is every day of the week. And a person who's capable to recognize that even though the Even HaGedolah may be on top, and even though maybe Gimel Edreit Zayin, Meloshen Neder, nevertheless, I'm Seimchem al Shabbos. I'm Seimch on Shabbos. I need the waters of Shabbos. I can't survive during the 6 days of the week without the waters of Shabbos. And I wait the whole week for Shabbos Kodesh. And I yearn for Shabbos. And I sit in close proximity. And I try as much as possible during the week to attach myself to Shabbos because I want to drink from the waters of Shabbos. And the more one does that during the week, the more one is able to attach himself during the week to Shabbos, and the more the Shabbos Kodesh is able to have its proper effect. Zaktis Vasemis, this is why Yaakov Avinu was able to walk over to the rock, walk over to the well, and be able to take it off. The Zohar Kodesh tells us that during the 6 days of the week, a tzaddik is on the level of Shabbos Kodesh. A tzaddik doesn't live in the world of weekday. A tzaddik lives Shabbos Kodesh all week long. The same way every one of us is obligated to go ahead and to connect Yom Yom Rishon, Yom Yom Sheni b'Shabbos, to connect every day of the 6 days of the week to Shabbos. A tzaddik is able to actualize that idea and is able to live Shabbos every day of the week. The way we live on Shabbos, a tzaddik lives during every day of the week. Obviously, his Shabbos is even higher than us, but the tzaddik lives Shabbos the whole week. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu comes, and in the middle of the week, without all of the Edreit Zayin there, without everybody there, Yaakov Avinu says, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, I can take the rock off the well, the Even HaGedolah, the Yetzer Hara off of Shabbos Kodesh, and I can reveal Shabbos during any moment of the week. And our job as being Bnei Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, our job as being Va'amek Kulam Tzaddik and being connected to what it means to be a tzaddik is to attach ourselves to Shabbos every day of the week. That Shabbos becomes the center focus of our week. Shabbos becomes the center focus of our life. And the more we revolve, the more we allow our week to revolve around Shabbos, the more we stay in close proximity to Shabbos, the more we yearn for Shabbos. Ka'echsei for Noyam Shabbos. We have a kesufin for the inyan of Shabbos, for the sweetness of Shabbos. The more that rock is able to be taken off even during the 6 days of the week, and the more when it's finally taken off and are able to say, we're able to go out into the field of Shabbos Kodesh, the more we're able to appreciate the sweet waters of Shabbos. Hashem should help us to attach ourselves every day of the week to Shabbos Kodesh, to recognize that Shabbos is this focal point of the week. We're able to do that and able to uncover the rock even a little bit and to drink a little bit from the waters of Shabbos during the week. Then in Ritz Hashem, we'll be able to be zeicha to drink from the proper waters of Shabbos on Shabbos Kodesh. We'll be zeicha Ritz Hashem to Yom Shekul Shabbos. Have a great Shabbos.